Welcome to the Tyneside Irish Cultural Society podcast with me, Michael McNally. Welcome to the final podcast of 2020, a year most of us will want to forget. Let's hope 2021 brings us a bit more hope and positivity. We've got a packed show this month, so without further ado, here we go. Yesterday, I actually got involved in delivering some Christmas parcels around Jarrow with a very good friend of mine, David Sheeran. And it was the first time in many years I've felt the Christmas spirit. It was quite an interesting couple of hours that we spent. And I'm really pleased we've got a guest here now, Helen Passman, who's down on Teesside. She's organising and coordinating all of the Christmas parcels around the Teesside area.
I think at the end of May sometime, Tony Corcoran contacted me. He'd started the North East Irish Network and wants to include Teesside. We have a very small Teesside Irish Society with probably only about 6 or 7 on the committee. So he asked me, would I be happy to deliver some parcels and the newsletters out to some people. And we started putting our list together. And they began with the lists that we had as Teesside Irish Society and that Barbara in Newcastle had from the Ross, which is a Raised on Songs and Stories group. So we put those together, added those to the database with the permissions necessary, and that's how we started in May. And Liam Horton, who works around the area near us, he lives in Newcastle, but he lives in the area, he said he would be our connection. He would deliver us some parcels. And so through the summer, he'd bring me 20 when he was on his way to Yorkshire, bring me another 20. And over 6, 8, 10 weeks even, more people got added because people would say, I said, if you know any other, especially the elderly Irish, please give me their names. One would ring another, one would ring another. And our numbers grew to, I think we've now got about 118. So the task then was that was all right when it ran over the summer nice and slowly, but we've got to get these out in a couple of weeks. So I kind of asked a couple of people who on our committee who I know are fit and able, and although they work, they said they'd do them. So I asked one person, she took about 19 over 2 nights, last night, the night before, and another one I've given her about 16. Then the first person, Ailish, her daughter said, oh, I'll get involved with her little girl. So I'm going to drop about 17, 18 off to them. So that means I've already given out 52. Liam turned up with his car absolutely jam-packed with 60 parcels on Monday. And then last night, yes, I think it was raining, he came with another 60. I now have 25 in the car and 23 in the corner of this room. I'm about to drop 17 off to Roisin, the girl, the daughter, Ailish's daughter. So I feel like I'm well on the way. This morning I've been down slightly north to Stockton and Norton and managed to get them done. It's a lovely job really, because the only other time I knock on people's doors is like if I'm involved in politics and you're asking people are they going to vote for you, and you don't get a very nice reception. This is like being Santa Claus. Even in the summer I thought this is just so nice because I'm not even doing anything, only taking them out. I haven't even bought them anything, but people are just so happy and so grateful really. I'm so pleased to be included. And they've been saying to me how much they've enjoyed the newsletters, because they've been receiving a newsletter since we began we joined probably April, May. Some of them say they've been getting their monthly, initially their 2 weekly and then monthly newsletters. So they feel like they know us already, and I'm just saying Happy Christmas from the North East Irish Network, and it's very nice.
It's absolutely tremendous work that you're doing. I got such a buzz when you're talking about the numbers you're delivering. We did 11 yesterday. It took us about 3.5 hours, and everyone wanted to talk. And you know, you could see some people were more vulnerable than others. Everyone was elderly, but it was just a really uplifting experience and a great community event, really. And honestly, hats off to you, because that's a massive task. Because everybody wants to talk. It takes time.
It's easier than the first time because I put them into little groups, whereas the first time one would add in this area, that we'd go back on an area. Redcar, which I don't know as well, are all in one area. And then I met one woman, and she's the sister of one, and she's got 2 brothers. So I finished up giving her 7 parcels. So that was nice and an easy one. And in the first one, I wanted to knock on everyone's door and speak to them all. This time I thought, I can't really do that. It's Christmas. If this one can take to a sister and a brother and a friend, we'll do it that way. I feel like they're part of us because they've already had the newsletter. They know about us. They're not going to go, what's this parcel about, because they had one before. So, yeah, it's been easier this time.
Helen, I just want to say thank you very much for your hard work. It's greatly appreciated. I know the people you're helping will appreciate that. And Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you.
Yes, same to you then, yeah.
And you take care now. Okay, our next guest, I'm really pleased to say, he's an outstanding musician, Dave Wood, and he's been involved in putting together a very special album. I've just been listening to a track this morning. I've listened to it about 4 times. It's infectious. I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about this project.
So Paul Ruane Sound just recently released. Many of you in the club will remember Paul. Fantastic fellow, wonderful fiddle player, very unique style. Came from a Leeds Irish background, parents from County Mayo, and unfortunately Paul lost his battle with cancer in 2016. And this album's been a kind of a project to get Paul's music out there and have a little something for all of his friends to remember him by. Really fantastic bloke. The idea of the album came around, or the idea of the recording, sort of around about 2010. We used to have a bit of a session over in Gosforth, in Queen Vic in Gosforth. And it was every Wednesday night. And it was Paul and myself, a wonderful tenor banjo player who's on the album as well, called Louis Bingham. Paul's wife, Dee, would often be down, absolutely fantastic box and whistle player. And there'd be lots of other people turning up, a fantastic fiddle player called Chris Meredith. Around about that time, we were meeting every week, and the music was just sounding the way music does when you regularly play with the same people, that it was becoming sort of very tight, and we were playing some really lovely old tunes, and fabulous flute player Norman Holmes, who owns lots of really lovely recording equipment, decided it would be a nice idea if we started to put some of these things down as a bit of a sort of just a project, just on the back burner, record a few tunes here and there. Most of the sort of the core of the album was recorded in 2 visits to Paul and Dee's house, where we took some microphones over, set them up, got the fire going. I think on a couple of tracks, if you listen carefully, you can hear the fire sort of flaring up in the background. Sort of thought nothing more of it, really. So we had some good quality recordings, but the problem was that a lot of them were maybe a little bit bare. So we might have a set of tunes where I might be playing the guitar and Paul and Dee were playing 3 tunes. But at the end of the second tune, Dee had to go and put the potatoes on or deal with the kids. So suddenly there'd be no instrument on the last tune. So unfortunately, Paul's untimely death in 2016, we kind of realised we were sitting on this wealth of material of Paul's fiddle playing. Paul had a really unique sort of, Leeds Irish fiddle style. Grew up in Leeds playing alongside great friend and fiddle player Des Hurley, who runs the Irish Arts Foundation down Leeds. And Paul's sort of style, really unique, just, how do I put it, all the twists and turns and ornamentations, but in particular the way he'd variate a tune. So he'd never really play the tune the same twice. It would always be slightly different, and it'd usually take most people by surprise. I think sometimes Paul would even take himself by surprise. But we revisited it and realised that we could do something with it. So sort of over the past couple of years, we've had Paul's friends and family sort of overdubbing over the top of the original recording, adding some more instruments. So 2 of Paul's kids are on here, on the 3rd track. So yeah, Celia and Eva are on here. And all sorts of bits and pieces. So Norman plays the flute on a lot of the album. Norman has done all of the sort of mixing and mastering of the thing and compiling the whole thing. We recorded a couple of extra things that don't include Paul as well, just to sort of flesh the album out. But for example, one of them is one of Paul's compositions, All Is Real, written for his oldest daughter, Orla, who's now down in Manchester at university. The pandemic sort of made it very difficult to complete the album as well, because there was still a couple of bits and pieces of recording to do. And obviously you shouldn't be going into people's houses and all that sort of thing. But we managed to get it finished in the summer as everything sort of relaxed. Actually, in terms of the pandemic, it's been quite nice, almost quite refreshing to release some music that isn't a song about coronavirus, which has got to be the worst source of material ever. I think we'll look back in a few years at all these Robbie Williams numbers and all of this and just think, what on
I know, it's such a bleak subject. Unless you have a sort of dark sense of humor about it, it's not really not worth exploring, I don't think. You know, but it is, well, you're right. What you put together is an uplifting tribute, really, to a great musician. And, you know, I want to commend you and the other people involved, because it's fantastic. And I know when you lose a great friend, as you have, you know, they stay with you. And what better way just to pay tribute to them than put this time into this amazing project.
We're really, really, really proud of it, to be honest. And I know Paul would have rated it. So it's worked out fantastically, and it's been really, really touching, actually, since we released the album. I'm dealing with all of the orders and the amount of messages that have come in from people who knew Paul back in the day and so on, in Leeds, and family from Ireland, and all sorts of people getting in touch. Paul was deputy head at St Cuthbert's in Newcastle as well, so lots of former pupils and staff kind of getting in touch to get a copy of the album. So it's been really nice and completely unplanned. It seems to have been just the right time of year to release it, because everyone seems to be getting it as to put in people's stockings and whatnot. So Paul was the main driver behind the Tyneside branch of Cultus Cultoriarum, which is a society which tries to preserve traditional music, Irish traditional music. There's kind of branches all over the world. And it's nice to see now, even through the pandemic, that the Cultus are still regularly meeting on Zoom, of course, at the minute. And actually, I should give this a little plug. We've just managed to put together a couple of lockdown videos. So it's lots of Paul's former Cultus, young people's music. If you search on YouTube for Tyneside Cultus, COMHALTAS, you'll find the lockdown videos, and there's lots of Paul's old friends on there as well. So Kevin Doonan's on there on the fiddle, Julian Sutton on the melodium, and we've done a nice little job. We got everybody to sort of stand at home, video themselves on the mobile phones. They all sent the videos through, and we've sort of made a collage of all of those. So it's another nice way to sort of honour Paul and remember him.
How come people access the album and buy it?
Very easy. You need to go to paulfiddle.com, and you can buy it there. There's a link to buy the album there. There's Karen Tweed as well. Karen Tweed, fantastic piano accordion player, played in numerous outfits. Was a really good friend of Paul's and knew Paul from back in Leeds and throughout his life. She very kindly did the artwork for the sleeve of the album. So she did a lovely sort of sketch of Paul there, and we're really grateful to her for that.
David, it's been absolutely wonderful talking to you, and the passion you have for what you do as a musician, is something everyone can plainly see, and the strength of friendship and the respect you have for Paul is incredible. So thank you very much for that, and I'm hoping someone's going to send me this album for Christmas, and I recommend that you get it if you haven't heard any of this stuff. It's absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much for your time. I wish you and your family a fantastic, peaceful Christmas and New Year.
Absolute pleasure, Michael. Same to yourself. Thanks ever so much.
You may have noticed our distinctive theme music performed by the very talented Matt Dean. Now, I'm really pleased to say I've got him live here from Kerry.
It's been a very, very strange year for everybody, and hopefully one we can put behind us now in 2021 as well, and start recovering from the mess that we're in, you know?
Yeah, fingers crossed. Now, tell us how you started your musical journey.
I started in the Irish Centre with Tony, doing the Cultus classes, and started off on tin whistle, just turning up to the regular Tuesday classes, and as it kind of snowballed from there. Then when I was about 12, I took up the flute then as well. Harvey actually had an old flute lying around, and he gave it to my dad to see did I want to have a go on it, and yeah, that brought home for me, and I got a note out of it pretty much straight away, and that was it. I never looked back from it then, really.
How many instruments do you actually play now?
I think 11 on the last count. I wouldn't play all 11 on a regular basis, but as the main ones I'm playing, the majority of the time would be the flute and the whistle. I play saxophone as well, and baron and banjo, and I also teach all those instruments as well. So,
with it being Christmas, I would love you to play something a bit festive and something to lift the spirits at this challenging era that we're living through.
I'll play a couple of tunes off my new album, which is hopefully going to be coming out sometime next year.
A few months back, I had the pleasure of interviewing Dan Donnelly, lead singer with the Celtic Social Club. Well, we're going to play out 2020 with I'm Free, a track by the band, and would like to wish you all a Merry Christmas. And let's hope 2021 is filled with hope and positivity. Take care, everyone.
If you want, I'll set the scene for you. And if you got the time, I'll tell you all that you wanna know about this life of mine. I'm not denying I've made mistakes in the life I've had. Look at where we've ended up. You're angry and I'm sad. I'm so sorry. So much time has passed like sand upon the breeze. Emotions are a memory. Now we've started to freeze, and I'm running from our shadow. It'll never go away. So if anyone tries looking for me, I'm somewhere far away, where the roads are always open, food's few and far between, and the countrysides are rolling by, and I'm tough, I'm free, and I'm lean.
watch me